Hey guys, how you doing? I'm Matt Gear and this is Matt Gear TV. Today I'm going to introduce you to the diatonic scale, and what we're going to look at is the first of 7 positions in the diatonic scale using a 3-note per string picking pattern. Now previously I've shown you 3 different picking patterns in a lesson which you can check out here if you've not seen it already. That covers a couple of different ways of picking, alternate picking and directional picking, and if you've not had a look at it, do check it out. Just a quick reminder though of those 3 shapes. They look like this. So each of these shapes is a 3-note per string shape, and the first of these is a whole step, then a half step. The second was a half step, then a whole step, and the third one was a whole step and a whole step. Now the diatonic scale only uses those 3 shapes. So once you know what they are and you know how to put them together, you can basically use that to construct the diatonic scale. So as I said, what I'm going to show you today is the first shape in the diatonic scale. I'm starting on the A on the 5th fret of the low E string, and it goes like this. So let's have a look at that slowly and close up so you can see what's going on. As I said, I'm starting on the 5th fret of the low E string, and the first shape that I'm using is the whole step, whole step. Next I'm moving up onto the A string, and I'm using that exact same shape again in exactly the same position. So starting on the 5th fret, whole step, whole step. Then onto the D string, this time starting on the 6th fret, using a half step, whole step pattern. Onto the G string, repeating that same shape in the same position. So 6th fret, half step, whole step. Then onto the B string, and this time starting on the 7th fret, and we're going to use a whole step, half step shape. Then onto the E string finally, repeating that same shape again in the same position. So 7th fret, whole step, half step. So from the beginning again, slowly so you can see how it works. So whole step, whole step, whole step, whole step, moving up to the 6th fret, half step, whole step, same again, then up to the 7th fret, whole step, half step, and the same on the high E string. So all together. And then you can do that in reverse as well, so exactly the same on the way down. And that's it, and that's position 1 of the diatonic scale. Now, in case you're wondering what the diatonic scale is, because some of you might be listening to that saying, do you know what, that sounds like a major scale to me. It kind of is. It kind of is a major scale, and it's major in as much as you're starting on the A and you're hearing everything relating to that A. That's an A major scale. And for those of you who are a bit clued up about modes, the major scale is also known as the Ionian mode. So this is the first mode of the diatonic scale. Now bear in mind, when you're practicing scales, they obviously sound like scales because you start and finish. You don't play like that when you are soloing or improvising. The idea of learning these shapes is so that you know where the notes are, so that when you come to improvise or you come to solo, you can play what you want and you've got the freedom to work your way around the fretboard without having to think about what notes you're playing so much. You don't solo by playing scales, you solo by playing notes from a scale. Now, from a modal point of view, have a listen to this. What I've done is I've just played an A chord, which I'm going to loop, and then I'm going to play this scale over. Now hopefully what you can hear is it sounds major, and the reason it sounds major is that everything is relating back to the A, and playing this shape over an A results in a major sound, so you are effectively playing the Ionian mode. Well, not effectively, you are playing the Ionian mode. Now, here's something that's really interesting, and this will hopefully help you get an understanding of what modal music's about. If it's a little bit beyond you, don't worry too much about it, just practice the shape. But what I've now done on my trusty Roland cube is I've looped a B minor chord. So before we were playing over an A major, now there's a B minor. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to play exactly the same shape. So exactly the same notes I was playing. So if you like, this is the A major shape. And you can hear that A doesn't quite work. We're drawn to the B. So now I'm going to play the A major shape over a B minor chord. And you can hear we're actually drawn not to the A, but to the B. And what we're playing now, using this, again, A major shape, we'll call it shape 1 of the diatonic scale, is the Dorian mode. And it's Dorian because it's focusing on the second note of the diatonic scale. So you may have been thinking, from a modal point of view, I need to go and learn I need to learn Ionian shape, Dorian shape, and all the different shapes for each of the modes. Actually, they're all the same thing, because once you've learnt the diatonic scale, which is 7 different shapes, depending on what chords you're playing those shapes over, the modes will come out of them. And I'm going to show you in subsequent lessons how you can actually use one shape to play any mode that you want. But for now, just a reminder of this is shape 1. So once you've got that under your fingers, you can work out your own little drill exercises for playing it, because bear in mind that when you're practicing this, you're practicing a scale. Once you know the scale, you need to try and stop playing it as a scale. So starting on note 1 at the bottom, going up to the note at the top, and then back down again. Because it's very common when people start to solo, they just play scales, and then they say, why does it sound like scales? It's because you're playing scales. If you can, and you've got the facility to loop or record something, either a looper, or if you've got a Roland cube, you can record on that. Maybe you've got a tape machine or something. Just try and record a loop of an A major chord. That's all you need. And then play the scale over that and familiarise yourself with how it sounds. And don't just play the scale up and down. Try and come up with some melodies and some improvisation using that shape. Once you've done that, you can then record a B minor chord and do exactly the same thing, playing exactly the same shape as I just did, and then familiarise yourself with the way that sounds. Again, play it up and down as a scale, but then try and come up with your own little licks, little phrases, little melodies using that shape. Because that's the way you'll start to build a vocabulary of tunes and melodies rather than a scale. start at the bottom, up, back down again. So I hope that's been interesting. Next time what I'll do is I'm going to show you position 2, and over the coming weeks we're going to work up so that you'll learn all 7 positions of the diatonic scale. And when we stick them all together, what you'll then start to see is how all of the modes work. If you're new to modes and you find it really confusing, don't worry about it too much at the moment. Just learn the shape and get the shape of the scale under your fingers. And once we've covered that and we've got all the shapes done, actually the way that the modes work will become much more apparent. I've been Matt Gear, this has been Matt Gear TV. I hope you guys have enjoyed that. Do check back soon because I'm going to be putting more lessons up. In the meantime, take it easy and I'll see you next time. Cheers.